What's up guys, it's WHAAM here. Today I'm going to teach you guys how you can create your own mouse acceleration curve, which is going to work perfectly for you. In general, this is going to apply to any program, either if you're using Roxel or Custom Curve, it doesn't really matter. Personally, I'm going to use Custom Curve Pro since I think it's the best program out there. And yeah, let's get started. But first, who am I and why do I have the authority to give you tips about mouse acceleration? Well, I've been playing with mouse acceleration for more than 1.5 years now. I play Valorant and I've reached top 1,000 players in Europe while using it. Moreover, right now I'm professionally coaching people about mouse acceleration and create curves for them and stuff like that. If you're interested in that or want to even make a switch from Roxel to Custom Curve, because I also provide a service for that, you can check out my website. Without further ado, let's get started. First, I'm going to quickly summarize why I'm using Custom Curve Pro and why I think it's a superior program. If you compare it to Roxel, it's a lot easier to use. For example, instead of putting integers, you can just graphically adjust the curve. You have a ton more features to use, which help you actually find your curve a lot faster. And well, it costs money. There's a free version, but the Pro is actually a lot better. But the Pro is not that expensive. If you use the code WHAAM, it costs $10 lifetime, which is, I mean, for some people, $10 is still a lot, but I think compared to all the shit you can buy, I'm looking at EA games right now, it's not that much. All right, now into the theory. Well, there's two different playstyles you can have with mouse acceleration. One's gonna be I call it the yay playstyle, where you just try to make your aim as efficient as possible, going for headshots, having rather low sensitivity with the ability to turn around quickly. And then there's the prot gameplay, the crackhead gameplay, where you use a lot of acceleration, which makes you be able to do 360s very quickly and stuff like that. I personally really do prefer playing with the yay playstyle, being efficient, having slower aim and just being able to turn around. This is the curve I'm using with that. You can download it from my Discord server in custom curve settings. I'm gonna pin it so you can quickly find it. The link will be in the description, or just head to your browser and type discord.gg/WHAAM. And yeah, so when you've downloaded custom curve, it's gonna look something like this. So to a curve, there's just a few things you should know. There's the offset, there's the acceleration part, and then there's the cap. The offset is how much it takes for your acceleration to actually set in, because I personally am a big advocate for not having much acceleration for like your small mouse movements, since for longer ranges I don't really prefer having mouse acceleration and I really just like to stick with one low sense. So for example, with this default curve, it doesn't actually have any offset since the acceleration graph already starts quickly. To fix this, we can just add an edge point and turn it down. So for example, if I put it to like around 5, this will be the offset around 5. This is very important to know, which also helps you determine your curve. How you can use it to your advantage, I'm going to teach you in a bit. Then there's the acceleration part itself, which is going to be this part. You can kind of make it with a curve or make it straight like this. Whatever you prefer, it's just about trial and error and just trying stuff out. And then there's the cap. The cap is how much of acceleration you're willing to maximally have. Right now, this is put at 1.0. This is going to be the sensitivity multiplier. This curve starts rather low. Usually you'd have it at 1.0 starting, and then you'd have it up to 2.5, for example. So as much as you move your mouse, you're not going to go over 2.5 times your base sensitivity. With that out of the way, I'm just going to go over the features you might need in Custom Curve Pro quickly. If you're a Roxel user, you can just skip this. So this, you can load and save your curve, which is pretty good. Then undo redo explains itself. This stuff you don't really need to bother. Bypass confirm changes is just a quality of life improvement, since when you press apply, usually there would be like a box where you have to confirm it again. Negative Excel, something you don't really have to lose any thought over. It's very specific use cases and barely anyone uses it. Then this is going to be very interesting. For example, DPI scaling. When you have Pro, you have this feature enabled. For example, when you switch from 800 to 1600 dpi, which is very common since a high dpi gives you more readings per second, so less kind of errors. So for example, if I go from 800 to 1600 dpi, it's going to convert the curve perfectly. So it feels exactly the same as it would have on the old DPI, and you can also use the same sense in-game. So if you had a sense of 0.3 at 800 dpi, you switch to 1600 dpi, you can still use 0.3 in-game. So the next one will be history. This is going to be very important. We're going to use this right now to help us get the graph. For Rockstar users, you can kind of estimate it by just using the dot on your curve and just emulating the mouse, how you use your mouse while playing. But we're going to use another feature, which is also included in Custom Curve Pro, which is very, very helpful. Profiles, you can just save and use profiles to quickly switch in between them. It's pretty cool. And then you have a bunch of presets. You can use. And also the DPI you have. Personally, I recommend to just go with your own curve or try some curves from, for example, my Discord server. There's a ton of good curves there. Theme, you can just change how this looks. It doesn't really matter. Then there's a user manual with a lot of hotkeys if you really want to dive in deep and learn the program. So now let's get to the history feature. First, let me load in my curve so it actually feels normal again. The history feature, what it does, it kind of records how you use your mouse. As you've noticed on the Y scale, there's dots per millisecond, and this basically records how much dots per millisecond you use per second. So it essentially just reads how fast you use your mouse. And like this, I just want you to play a deathmatch. Either when you're already using acceleration, you can use your old acceleration graph, it doesn't really matter, or you can just use nothing and just play a regular game of deathmatch. And then when you're done with this, you're gonna have a few readings. So you stop this, there's gonna be average and there's gonna be maximum. And around these values and also these spikes, we're gonna build our curve. So for some reason my spikes have disappeared, but that doesn't really matter for now. We're gonna use the average and the maximum readings first. So what does average mean? Well, average means how much you use your mouse per average. So if it's 7, you're gonna use it. Oh well, there it goes. You're not gonna go much over like 10 right now, but like your micro adjustments will usually hover between 3 and 8. So a bit more puffy around the average mark. What that means is usually until your average kind of gets reached in your acceleration graph. So we're gonna go here. You don't really want to have any acceleration. So we're gonna add a point and put it to 7. So this is gonna be our offset. So in a nutshell, you use your average readings to kind of find your offset. Now we're gonna talk about the maximum reading. That basically means that you should end your curve around that ballpark of, in my case, 31 dots per millisecond, because an acceleration graph which extends over this value doesn't really help you at all, because you're not gonna reach it at all. That was my personal issue when I started using mouse acceleration, since I think mine reached up to 200 or 300 dots per millisecond when I usually cap out at around 60 to 80. So you really want to build your curve around those two values. Now comes the tricky part. You'll have to ask yourself which playstyle you want to follow, since that kind of predicts how much acceleration you're going to use and how that acceleration will kind of be built. So for example, if I say, I just want to use it for slower turnarounds and just a low sense, the usual cap range will be between 2 and 2.5. So we're just going to drag this up to around 2.5 and make sure it actually ends as well. Well, 35 is actually fine. Let's put 40 for now. and drag this. This is basically where the curve heads afterwards to infinity. If you use it like this, it's just gonna go fucking insane. So I always recommend keeping it parallel to the x-axis. And yeah, this should be an edge point, so we actually have the offset of what we said 5 or something. And now this is the acceleration part. If you want to kind of do slower turnarounds and stuff, it's good to have it equally distributed till your curve ends. So to put it like either linear or put it like this, roughly. Sometimes even like this, so you'll have a lot of offset, and just for these 180s, you're gonna have acceleration to actually reach them. But if you're on crack, you can just put it like this, or there's even some very interesting curves where you like put another one here or something. This is where you can be very experimental when you use it just for flashy aim, for showing off. This is where you can just experiment a lot. However, if you're just going for the clean play style, I recommend maybe basing it off my curve, which again you can download from my Discord, since a lot of people have found that one very good, and it really is in the range for most players for low sensitivity and quick turnarounds. So now that you know the basics and how to create a curve, what do you do when you have a curve? Well, personally, after you kind of know that you're sort of comfortable with it, I would stop really messing around with it much, because I personally think that to really fine-tune your curve, you need a bit more playtime and a lot of experience to kind of see the errors which are long-term and not just short-term based off how you play or how you feel on that day. So before you actually change your curve you're comfortable with right now completely, I want you to play with it for around 1 to 2 weeks and just write down the things that bug you or something, and then afterwards, after these 2 weeks, you can do major changes. Before that, you can just do minor things like decreasing the offset or something, or decreasing the cap by 0 point something, just not so major things. But if you really want to fine-tune the curve, I think personally, or what I've seen in my experience, is that you need a bit more time, since it's a lot more complicated than just having a regular sense. But again, it will yield much higher and better results for your aim. And yeah, that's basically it. If you have any further questions, you can join my Discord server and ask. There's a lot of experienced players on that. If you want to get coached by me one-on-one, just where I go over everything and teach you the in and outs very specifically to your playstyle, about mouse acceleration, you can head to my website. I do one-on-one coaching there, or I even create a curve just for you based on information you provide me. I'm gonna have a discount code somewhere on the screen to kind of reward you coming from YouTube, which is very cool. So thank you for watching. And yeah, other than that, thank you so much. I hope this was informative to you, and keep grinding, my guy. Quick thing before I end the video, I just checked my analytics on YouTube and realized that only 6% of viewers are actually subscribed. So if you want to make my day and subscribe, that would really, really help out a lot more than you would think. And it only takes a second. You can always unsubscribe at the later point. And I also started streaming on Twitch, so if you want to check that out, I'm probably live right now. Maybe not. I'm going to go skiing in a week. But anyways, thank you so much.